It's nice to be here. Just in terms of a little bit of introduction to myself, I was a member. I have been a member of MIPI since pretty much day one, when in 2003 the alliance was formed from largely the board members that are here today. So 2003, second half of 2003 till now, it's a good number of years. So it's very nice to see the membership grow so much. As far as I think the major transitions that have occurred over the years, I think the major one has been, getting to a critical mass of adoption for certain of the interfaces. I think the display and camera are leading, and certainly our goal in the TSG, as I'll describe, is really to kind of look ahead and see what the next major interfaces are going to be for us. So, along that objective, we certainly look towards feedback, like Joel mentioned, and try to identify where we need to go next as an organization. For those that don't know where the TSG fits into the picture, we of course have the board. This is not including our latest new member, but we have ST, Nokia, TI, Intel, and Samsung. They have been on the board for quite some time. The two direct groups that report into the board are the marketing and the technical groups, technical steering groups. And then we have, of course, the working groups and investigation groups. Not shown are the birds of a feather, which are related to investigation groups in some way. But the idea here is that the TSG in particular works with the marketing group to support the board and really try to guide the direction of the board and hence the alliance. The participation in the TSG is as shown. Of course, there's a TSG chair, which is myself. Each of the board companies are represented on the board, are represented on the TSG. Each working group chair is invited to every TSG meeting, whether it be by phone or face-to-face. And there are new policies put in place to include special invitees from various places within the membership. So that's really the structure, if you like, of MIPI Alliance at a high level. So what is the job of the TSG? This is just a high-level summary of it. First and foremost, it's intended to be the technical advisor to the board. So if there are any questions with regards to evaluation, suggestions, advice, in many ways competitive analysis, what we ought to do, that's really the job of the TSG. And again, the TSG membership is largely a diverse group from all working group chairs, for all working groups, and across the board. So we have full coverage within the TSG, and the ability of the TSG to really be effective is largely dependent on, in my mind, how quickly we adapt to the competitive pressures and how well our interfaces are being adopted. If certain interfaces are not being adopted very well, then we need to be, in my mind, a little bit more critical as to how we improve that. When I do show the roadmap, I'll give some examples of this. So really, our as the TSG lead, my job is to really shepherd the members of the TSG and really focus on trying to provide that guidance. We look at these issues on a periodic basis with the membership. We have face-to-face meetings like this, as well as periodic telecoms. The objective of the TSG in many ways is, in addition to serving as advisor to the board, really to drive the vision and the technical direction for MIPI. So one particular example that we're that we have been working closely with the marketing working group is to define a sensors interface. Now, a sensors interface, this is relatively it's a very strong growth area. By sensor, we mean things like touch and various other things. We have maybe even simple audio devices. For those that know the roadmap, we of course have Slim Bus that does audio, but certain questions that we really need to come to terms with is, given its relatively slow uptake in the industry so far, is it appropriate for the ultra-thin devices? So these are some of the real questions that we need to understand. In the end, is there value in identifying either a slimmer Slim Bus or something new in order to pull in this new class of device component. One of the primary outputs of the TSG is a roadmap, and as Jerome mentioned, I'll be showing an example of this. It's really a graphical view of what Jerome presented earlier in a table form, but many of us who do road mapping, we generally like to see these identified as a function of time, so we can identify gaps, and visually you can see really what's going on a little bit better. And of course, in the form of guidance to the board, the objective is to help the board do the right thing. So we're advisors to the board, the decisions are made by the board. And of course, very closely, as was represented in the alliance diagram, we work very closely with Marcia and the marketing working group to perform public outreach as well as support the internal teams. One of the things that has been a big effort over the last maybe year or so was the generation of a MIPI block diagram, which shows really at a glance what MIPI is contributing to the mobile industry. I'll show an example of that. In fact, here it is. So MIPI stands for Mobile Industry Processor Interface. So MIPI is all about interfaces. We're not necessarily about architecture. So we often joke in our meetings that many of us are architects and like to go inside the chip. But it's not necessarily our job to do that. In fact, we're really all about interfaces, so we're on the outside. Somewhat jokingly, I sometimes refer to myself or members of our alliance as plumbers, so we do the plumbing. The architect is someone else, even though, of course, many of us, perform architecture tasks within our own companies. So as you look around this block diagram, you see that there's an application processor at the center. There's a modem. There's an RFIC attached to the modem. To the right of it is shown some form of companion chip, whether it be graphics or whether it be other type of function. And then around the periphery of this block diagram, you see a number of different industry components. You see on the left, you'll see the Wi-Fi interconnect, WiGig, which is the higher speed version of this upcoming. You'll see Bluetooth and other so-called combo components with regards to connectivity. And then these sensor type objects. You have digital speakers, digital microphones. You have, of course, RF components like the PA, the switch, the tuner, and that sort of thing. On the right-hand side, there are a different set of components, typically higher speed, displays, cameras, storage, and that type of thing. In terms of the interfaces, you can see that the Slim Bus over to the left covers a lot of these devices. One of our challenges is figuring out how to better couple to the industry. Slim Bus's attach rate is, in some regards, growing. We're going to work to try and find a way to improve that. One example is perhaps work with a Bluetooth SIG to try and increase the adoption of Slim Bus within that form, because it has a lot of advantages which we haven't as broadly advertised as we probably should have. So we'll be working on that. The display and camera, as you all said, in the upper right corner, these are primary kind of success points for MIPI, and we certainly hope to leverage that as we move from E5 over to M5.